Hello, you guys. I'm Carlos. I'm here today with a special edition of the Circle Update. It is a bit of a different type of format for today because we have exciting news that we want to share with you, kind of an update of what is happening. But before we go into our update, I want for you to invite you to subscribe if you are listening to us on Spotify or any Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast for that matter. Or if you're seeing us on YouTube, subscribe and like so that you can also share with your friends and tell them about the exciting things that are happening in the United Methodist Church in Oklahoma. So today, basically, we are all the comms team, all the communications team. Your communications team is here sitting in the podcast studio, so to speak. And Andrew, you cannot see him, but he is behind the camera. There you go, there he is. And I'm here with Jena today because we have exciting news about the campaign, what are things going, what is happening, and what is to come, and things that you need to know to prepare for it. So, with that in mind, can we go ahead and do this? So, I just want to give you a little bit of a background, right,
Yes.
of the campaign.
Yes, tell us about it.
So, in 2023, it's going to sound like back in the day. No, very quick. In 2023, remember that many of us and you, who are listening to us today are seeing us answer a survey about kind of where we want to go after kind of that rocky 2 years that we had, 2020 to 2023, those rocky years we had kind of were hard on us. And we asked to laity and clergy what was the next step for the annual conference. The number one answer was we need to have a bold campaign to tell the people in Oklahoma who we are beyond all the the bad press and the press that we have received what happened in those previous years. So we heard you, and we of course we rebranded the annual conference. We have a new logo. We have our core values, and you will soon, or we already told you this last annual conference, and they will be more explicit soon, and I will explain you how. And also is developed the What If Love campaign, right? So in the What If Love campaign, it was announced at annual conference again, but it will be launched on the first Sunday in Advent, but that will be November 30th of 2025, which is very exciting, right?
We're very excited.
Very exciting. So what does that entail? What does that mean? The What I Love campaign is a campaign directed to people who are at the edge of faith and at the edge of the United Methodist Church. So it is an evangelistic in nature. So we want people to know about Jesus Christ, to fall in love with Jesus Christ once again. And we hope that they can do that, falling in love through the Methodist Church, the United Methodist Church. And so have that in mind, that it is for those who are not necessarily in your pews yet or in your small groups yet. So as I said, it's an evangelistic in nature, but for us insiders to feel very proud of who we are and where we're going as a denomination in Oklahoma, as the United Methodist Church. So with that in mind, so how this is going to go? Well, we're going to have a website that will, hopefully people will be directed to that traffic, and I will tell you why or how. So there will be this website that we're working on. There will be a three-prong thing that you can do at the website. One is, let's say that you are a person who is new to faith, so you will be able to develop your own faith on your own, kind of thing, right? So that, that's the first step, kind of exploring your own faith. For those people who are spiritual but not religious, that is kind of the first step. Let's say that, I'm so pumped for Jesus. What is the next step? So the next step is that you can get involved, and that means that we will be promoting, and you will hear more about it here in a minute. Just hang on in there, about the ministries that you are doing in your own local congregation. So say you have a food pantry, say you have a food closet, or any ministry that you're doing for your community. You can advertise it, and hopefully people will say, I want to either volunteer there, donate, do something with it, right? So that's the number two. The number three is, okay, I'm volunteering, I'm kind of falling in love with Jesus. So what is next? So the next step is get connected, and that is the connection. And yes, it is to your local congregation through a group that it is not necessarily what we would call churchy, right? I mean, yes, we love our Sunday school class, and of course we love worship, and we love for them to be on a Sunday morning worship. But you and I know that I don't know if the majority, but many people are not necessarily keen into that anymore. Seems like. So again, it is, remember, it's evangelistic in nature, making it easy for people to fall in love with Jesus, and for making it easy for them to step into this discipleship journey themselves. So this group could be a group that meets on a Panera to talk about faith and the Bible. I have heard lately that there is our pastor in Poto. They have in southeastern Oklahoma. They have theology and a pub, or pub theology, which they go in a brewery, which is a block from the church, and they talk about Jesus, they talk about faith, and they have a beer. I have seen others, similar ones in Oklahoma City. There's a dinner church, which is they talk about Jesus, they have dinner, and kind of it's a different way to approach faith. There is about those who gather to do Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop games. There are brunch people, right?
Yoga, Tai Chi, exercise classes. Yeah.
So anything that it is out there that you are probably already doing. I even heard about karaoke night.
Love it.
It's awesome. So anyway, all I was to say is that any and all groups, nitwits, that's another one. Any and all groups that meet, that you can have an excuse to meet and to share community and to build a group and then talk about Jesus in a non-threatening way. We want to hear from them. But you're going to hear more in a minute. So again, you go to this website, you can develop your own faith, you can get involved into the mission of the church, and then you can start meeting into a small group as well in your local congregation. So that is on the website. Of course, that is, the websites people don't just flock websites, right? And not just because we have a website, suddenly we're going to have all these wave of people coming in. We're going to also, this campaign will have a big component on TV commercials, billboards hopefully, and digital presence, meaning on now streaming. We have a lot of platforms that stream, so YouTube TV or Sling or Hulu or name it. And anytime that we can place an advertisement for this campaign, for What If Love campaign, we're gonna do it at the best of our abilities, and we're gonna be good stewards of our resources. And so we are hopeful that through this push, Jesus and God can bless us and bless our work. Of course, we're gonna keep also doing social media postings, which also will involve you all. I mean, this is not just us doing this. We are advertising. We are proclaiming what you guys are doing in your local congregation. So it's coming. November 30th starts for real, but we are doing all the groundwork as it is. So with that in mind.
So one of the things is we're going to offer social media posts that churches can actually create for themselves, right? And in addition, I have been told that there is going to be a sermon series coming up. So can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes. So leading to November 30th, we would like to invite you, the pastors and laity. Right now, Reverend Carol Cookmore is working on a 3 Sunday sermon series, worship series, that is drilling down into the nitty gritty of the campaign, and just preparing our hearts, preparing our minds, preparing our souls to receive, hopefully, new people that are hopefully be impacted by this campaign. So it's November 30th is the launching day, just back 3 weeks, and that's when we're gonna invite you to start. It is not mandatory, of course. It is an invitation that you want to, if you can and want to be part of that. Now let's say, well, we already have planned all of our stuff for prior to that. But you can do a Sunday school class about it with all this material that is going to be put in there, or maybe you don't do it now, but you can do it maybe later, right, in another time in the year. So just so you know that it's coming. Hopefully you can do it on the 3 days leading or 3 weeks leading to the launch. But if you cannot do it during that time, you can do it another time, or use it for other ways as well. You can, so that again we are preparing for that campaign. So that is coming, and so then we have Advent, right? It's and Christmas, and then also Reverend Carol Cookmore is working for another worship series that is going to take us from, if I remember correctly, it's four weeks that leads to Lent. So those 4 weeks we're going to talk about our core values as a conference and our rebranding, and so we're gonna keep drilling even more and more who we are and the wonderful things that God is doing in us and through us. And as I said, it's gonna be another worship series that we will invite you to be part of. Again, similar thing. Maybe you can do it later. Maybe we can do it at the time. You can use it in other ways, and that will lead to Lent. So one leading to Advent, one leading to Lent, and then we're gonna have. We're going to invite many people to be praying for this campaign and leading to annual conference next year. So we were thinking already 2026 annual conference. So we will have laity. We invite them to write a prayer for this campaign, for our conference, for the people who are trying to reach out and to, again, live out who we are as a conference. And it will be 19 Sundays that leads from the day that we're going to start on that. I think is January 19, if I remember correctly. Don't call me accountable to that, but it is 19 weeks leading to annual conference, and we will be praying. And these prayers are going to be available for you, and we're going to ask these brothers and sisters who record themselves and send their video. We're going to have those videos edited so you can play them in your church. So that they can pray along with you and with all of us about this wonderful thing happening. So that then, What If Love, we're going to have a lot of stuff happening in your conference about What If Love. But that later. Right now, let us back here to all these things and be getting too ahead of ourselves. So that is kind of where we are with the 3 sermon series leading to Advent. Then after Advent, a 4 sermon series that ends with the Reformation of Baptismal Covenant, that we will invite you to do that as well, and leads into Lent. I think that's where we are. Mm-hmm. That's a lot, but I hope that is it. So okay, so we said a lot, Jena,
yeah.
that we need a lot of help from our brothers and sisters in the local congregation. So what do we need from them?
Okay.
Can you tell us?
Yes. So the first thing that churches can do, obviously, is just be in prayer. Just be discerning, how you want to, move forward with this campaign, what it's going to do for your church and what it's going to do for United Methodists and for future United Methodists. The second thing, like Carlos explained, there is, on our website, there are going to be 2 sections that are really going to be filled by you. Mm-hmm. And so the congregations are really going to help us out with this. And so just kind of want you to, if you've got a pen and paper, go ahead and start writing this down. And that, I'll just go ahead and give you my email, editor@okumc.org. Or you can just reach out to your lay leader, your district lay leader, or someone in the communications department. But what we're looking for is what your church is doing. So like Carlos explained, our number 2 section on the website is Get Involved. And so what that means is that people are going to be coming to this website to look for places where they can serve. A lot of people, feel more comfortable coming into a church to serve than to be served. And they also feel more comfortable sometimes coming in where it's less formal, and if they don't really understand what to do in church, it's easier to come in and say, hand someone a plate, mm-hmm. or build a wheelchair ramp with a group or something like that. That's just an easier point for people to get involved. And so we know from just talking to you at different events, we know from charge conference forums and things like that, that almost every single church in our connection has something going on that someone could get involved with. Is the church, collecting school supplies? Is the church making Thanksgiving baskets? That's a once a year thing. Do you have an ongoing blessing box, clothing closet, food pantry, every Wednesday meal, whatever it is? There's so many other things: disaster relief, shower ministries, cooling and heating, warming ministries. And we have a section for all of that. And so we have laity who are going to be reaching out to churches. They're going to be reaching out during charge conferences, and we really encourage. We're not asking you to tell people how to come and receive services. We're asking you to tell people how to come and contribute by either serving or by donating. This will also help if if at some point we have someone who's looking to maybe do a grant for, say, all churches that have a food pantry. If you're in this list, that helps us to then include you in the grant. So it also has benefits, beyond just having, an entry point for people to come into your church. It also has the benefit of having people, being able to help you, serve more people. And so that's the big thing for that. So just keep that in mind when they reach out to you. Please, please, please let us know. We really want to know. If you think it's too small, it's not. We want to know. And also, it's just one of those things. We want to brag on our churches. You guys are doing amazing things, and everyone should know about it. So I actually, for 2.5 years, something like that, did not know that we have a church who every single week builds a wheelchair ramp in a small town of Ponca City. And when the man told me about that, I was just aghast that I had never heard of that. And so we shared a story about them, and we'll hopefully continue to share stories about them because it's just such a fantastic ministry. So that's one of those well-kept secrets that shouldn't really be a secret. We want to share. Even if you feel like it's bragging, it also is inspirational. So think of it as that's something that someone else could be doing if they know how to do it from, seeing how you're doing it. And so the number 3 item on the website is join a group. And like Carlos said, that's another way that someone can maybe come into your church. They may not know exactly, do I sit down? Do I stand up? Do I introduce myself to people? Do I wait for them to come to me? I don't want to be embarrassed. It's kind of hard sometimes if you've never been in church, or if you haven't been in church since you were a little kid and it was totally different. It might be a little bit difficult just to walk into church not knowing anyone. And so this is an opportunity, if I'm having a book club or a yoga class or, like a tabletop game, or if there's just, a group where people come together and whittle or, like do sewing or, something like that. That's a little bit easier for someone to walk into a church. And I'm a good example of that. That actually is how I got back into church in high school. You can go in without that pressure of what am I supposed to already know? Are they going to chant things that, are they going to say like the Lord's Prayer or the Gloria Patri or whatever? Are they going to say something that everyone else knows and I'm supposed to know and don't? And so just think of that as sort of a really good entry point for people who are just not brave enough to walk into church on Sunday morning. And so if you have a group, and like I said, we're not talking about Sunday morning Sunday school. We know that those are great, and we do want you to be advertising those on your social media, on your website, any other platform that you have. But really, for this join a group, what we're looking for is groups that meet either in the church or just groups of people from the church who meet. If you have a dinner group, lunch group, whatever that is, and share that with us so that we can put it out there and people can then find that database, search it. Here's a church in our area who has something going on. And they can join you, and also we're going to need from you information on whom to contact, where they're going to meet, when you're going to meet. But that can be a little bit easier for people. So really be thinking, again, that's going to be something that the charge conference, there are going to be people there asking you about that. It's also going to be something that possibly some lay leaders might be reaching out to your church for. And even if you're not the official channel, please feel free to reach out to us so that we can make sure that official channel is being contacted, because we know that sometimes communication can fall through the cracks. Just one person gets sick and doesn't attend, and then we don't know that information. Or maybe the person who does attend isn't the person who has all of that information. This is also pretty easy to just send us, just take a picture of your bulletin if they have great groups and ministries. And again, email that. So you can just take your phone, take the picture, hit email, editor@okumc.org, and just send that to us along with the name of the church, because sometimes it's not obvious and which town it's in, and maybe even your name. And then we can then use that information to then sort of backfill that website. We really want this website to reflect the robust quantity and just diversity of opportunities that there are for people to come and visit a church or serve at a church and be part of a church without that pressure that can sometimes exist for, Sunday morning. And so that's really where we're going with this and what we're hoping to achieve. And we think What If Love is an excellent vehicle for this, and so we're super excited.
So, kind of a display that we're working on, we have all these boxes where people can, there's a tabletop or the sewing or something, and there's a little logo or a little picture with the information there. You click, and then you go and have all the information in there. So say I have a sewing group that meets, but I don't have a logo. Do I panic and say, hey, I know?
Don't panic.
We just send us the information.
Yep.
And Jena will work her magic.
Yes, we'll create something, and it will be, it could be pretty simple. And it'll just kind of depict who you are, and it will give contact information, and that's really all you need. So if you're worried that you have yes, we have a little tiny church with a little group who does makes shawls for people. We don't have a website. We don't have anything like that. That's okay. All we really need is an email, a phone number, or something like that, and you can send me a photo, or I will find one. I've got a database full of photos and images and things like that. We will create something for you. So really all we need is your information. And anything more that you give us, we're just going to be super over the moon.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And finally, about pictures, because we want it to be real, right? So that we have, as Jena's saying, we have an array of a library with stock picture people. But our campaign, it is about the reality that is happening in every single congregation, all the ministries that are happening in there. So we would love to have your pictures, right?
Yes.
And the more the better, and the better quality, even better still. So is there anything in particular that we're looking for? Disclaimer, you will send us and you say, well, I haven't seen my pictures. So we will use them as much as we can. And some will we use, some not, but the more we have in that database is better. But anyway, with that in mind, with that said, that disclaimer, is there anything in particular that we need from those pictures that our people can send?
Yeah. So one of the things I just want to kind of make sure people understand is that phones these days are actually sometimes better than what you can get with like a professional camera. And so don't be afraid. Don't think, oh, well, I only took it with my phone, that it's going to be great. Really what we don't want, the only thing that we really don't want is if you've uploaded it to Facebook and then downloaded it, that Facebook, in order to have the vast, just quantity of photos that they use, they have to actually shrink it down in size very small. So then if we try to put it on the website and we try to blow it back up, it can be, and another way that kind of is difficult to deal with is if you send us a photo but you first put it in a Word document, because they do the same thing, and then that document, so if you can send us a photo as an attachment, and again, all you have to say in it is who it is, who you are, how to get in touch with you, and again, send it to that email address that I already gave and that I'm sure Andrew's going to put across the screen, editor@okumc.org, and you can send us those photos as attachments. And so that means, and if you're not super savvy with the phone, basically you can just hit select, pick the photos you want to send, and then click the email button, put that email address in, and they will then send as an attachment. And so that's really the best way to get photos to us. And if they were taken on your phone, they're probably going to be fine. But like I said, we may just want like a photo of like a shawl on someone's lap, or we may want a group photo. We may want so we can kind of use just about anything, really. And we may have one of the things about being a photographer is you take 1,000 pictures and you use 10 of them, so if we're getting 1,000 photos from people, we have to have that many in order to find the one that fits in the thing that we're using. So the more you guys can send to us, the better off we are and the more we appreciate it. And just again, let us know who it is in the photo. We will then be requesting releases for some people depending on if you can see their faces and things like that. Children definitely need releases, very important. But don't let that stop you from sending. Just make sure that we know who you are and we can get back with you and make sure and identify what it is in the photo and who is sending it.
Right, and get all the permissions needed for the, if needed be. Right?
Yes. Yeah, we can reach out to do that so that you're not overloaded and having to sort of wait on us, wait on all of those permissions before.
We want to make it easier for you. So yes, we do need, because say we have a wonderful picture of a person embracing somebody else and the faces are there and children are there. So we want to make sure that we are not infringing in anybody's rights, but and we want to use the picture. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything by the book, as they say.
Right, and it also depends on the context. So if it's an advertisement, we have to have a permission. And if it's just a photo that we're using on social media for, just to, share what's going on, there's a different status, there's a different level of permission that we need. And so, and that's another reason why it's, if you can get it, that's great, but we really just want to see as many photos as possible. And
great.
Yeah.
Well, it's very exciting, as you can tell. It's a lot of things happening, so we are not just sitting in our hands and say, well, what are we going to do next? Actually, it's a lot happening, so as Jena said, please keep us in your prayers. There's a lot of things going on. But yes, help us with all your ministries that you're doing. Let it not be a secret anymore. If you have those phone groups that they are a group that develop faith and discipleship, but they are not churchy, and that, as the people outside see us, send us that information. And if you don't have a logo or you don't have a picture, don't worry about it. Just send us the information, send us the description. We'll figure it out. And send us pictures as much as you can, as many as you can. And I think that's the word. Help us. Because yes, this is your campaign. This is your work, and we just want to herald it to the world that this is what Oklahoma United Methodists are all about. And I know, as Jena was saying, we know that there's a whole lot of stuff, great stuff happening. So help us to spread out all over. And Jena, is there anything else that you want to say to the good people of the Oklahoma Union Conference?
I think we've said it all. They're the good people of the Oklahoma Conference.
That's right.
Absolutely.
They are. Andrew, do you have anything to say to the good people of Oklahoma?
I do not.
With that, peace and have a wonderful rest of your week. Blessings.